Hello YouTube, the topic is the Buddhism. So I'm gonna skip the basic parts about Buddhism because these things you can easily find in the official theory. Just to mention that Buddha was Prince Sakyan. His papa was some sort of local chieftain. It was not a big kingdom, but you know, he belonged to the blue-blooded caste of people. And if we know anything about the ruling caste, you know, they are reptiles, Illuminati, and psychopaths. So the core of the Buddhism lies in the explaining person as a 5 khandhas, as 5 formations: physical body, emotions, mental formations, and consciousness, which is only recognition and memory. And elegantly combining all that is the mind, and mind gets reborn, not reincarnated, because in Buddhism you don't have a soul, you don't have a God, you don't have a beginning of the whole thing. It was always like this. Samsara was always like this, without a beginning, and it's gonna be without the end. So that elegantly concludes the whole conclusion about the nature of the things. If you analyze a bit, what is Buddhism telling you? It's telling you that you are merely physical body, emotions, mental formations, which are mostly coming actually from outside, from the Mara, from the samsara. And your consciousness is not the level of your understanding, it's merely recognition and a memory. So the substitute for soul is the mind. Mind gets reborn. Mind is all that. And the mind gets reborn because it's filthy. It's filled with the greed, hatred, and delusion. Who gets reborn where? According Buddha, people who finish their rebirth in the heavenly realms, in the heaven, they got reborn as a rich people and even nobility, while people who finish their rebirth in the hell get reborn as a bamboo cutters, in those families where they eat dog meat and drink fermented drink and no Dhamma, or the Buddha's truth. So how does that affect human mind in the practice, in the Buddhist practice? Well, in the Buddhist practice, what I witnessed in the 2.5 years in the Buddhist monastery, it goes like this. My first monastery was Wat Saingam, 80 kilometers north from Bangkok in Suphanburi. And as soon as I came there, they showed me the body of Arahant, who was previous abbot. That body was not decomposing because Arahants, they don't decompose because they're saints. And I really believed in that, really. It was in April 2011. I really believed in that, and I was bowing to that corpse. And I stayed in that monastery a couple of months and became a friend of a nun, and a very cool person, soul in my opinion. And she was taking care of that abbot last 4 years of his life, and as a result she developed a thyroid problem, which people normally develop if they are prolonged time in this stressful environment. So what she told me is following: when he died, they took his body to Bangkok, they mummified his body, they put a chemical inside of him, and now Wat Saingam is selling that mummified body as a body of Arahant. And inside the monastery, you had this, of course, very strict hierarchy. You have an abbot who is a good guy, but he doesn't interfere in the business. There was a manager, a guy who was mostly working with the cars. They've been repairing cars and selling them. And there was a nun, and she was in charge of all donation boxes, and she was selling Pindabat food to the market bag. And nuns, mostly poor women from, you know, unprivileged class, they've been working their ass off, and she actually showed me a picture of a nun who had a seizure, and she was half paralyzed, and she had a seizure because she was bullied constantly by the chief nun, and you know that woman was clearly very cold, very psychopathic. She was running the money business together with her daughter. So okay, you know, I thought, okay, this is one of those corrupt monasteries, but I was still Buddhist, and I had the good meditations there. I didn't work much, so I could enjoy my meditations. And then after a couple of months I needed to do my visa run anyway, so I went to south to Malaysia to do my visa run, and I ended up in Wat Saingam on a retreat. And on my big surprise, well, that retreat area was not actually Wat Saingam, it was privately owned business by the Buddhadasa Bhikkhu's nephew, but I didn't stay there a long time. I finished my 10-day retreat and went back to the you know, the monastery in Thailand, which is Wat Pan Nanachat, which is the only English-speaking monastery in Thailand and in Southeast Asia, and it's run by the German abbot. But the most important person there is the son of Ananda Krishnan, Siripanyo. Ananda Krishnan is the richest person in Malaysia. He is the king of telecom, but he also has money in gambling and oil. Interesting person, highly educated. Mama is from royal Thai family, and he's, you know, if you know anything about Thai royals, you know, when you're in front of these people, you really feel overwhelmed by the power. These are the top class Illuminati, no bullshit. And also person behind the whole thing was Jayasaro. Jayasaro is a guy who lives in an orchid farm close to Bangkok, and he has his own enclosed area. I noticed this guy on YouTube, and I noticed that his pupils are changing into reptilian when he talks. So, memories from Wat Pan Nanachat. When I end up in a hospital to be operated, and I called them, they never called me back. This was like a first thing, but they told me, you know what, you don't have money, you're nobody in the hierarchy, so normally that management doesn't give a shit about you. Okay, I got that. But the one thing was profound, and this was on the 26th February 2012. I was late, and I informed monastery that I'm gonna be late, and I know that gate's gonna be closed. I came there 18:30, 6:30 p.m. and I was SMSing text messaging Dawn, the secretary, and the abbot, and nobody opened the doors, nobody opened the gates until 8 p.m. Then the kitchen lady came, and she opened the back doors, and I was happy, you know, well, okay, they sent somebody. But tomorrow, when I asked Dawn why it took them so long, Dawn told me, dude, we've been counting the money, Abbot and me, and you know, when we count the money, it's only money. Nothing else can be done. And I was like puzzled. I mean, yeah, right, hello, yeah, welcome to Cambodia, hello, everywhere, and then they ask for money. And I was like, okay, like, you know, they couldn't open the window in that office, which is in the center of monastery, and ask somebody open gates for me, because they've been counting the money. So what happens in the Buddhist practice is, because people are, you know, detached from their souls, even if they have them, they, you know, spiritually rely on teaching on basically Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, Buddha's teaching. And in the practice, that actually makes them very, very cold and very, very coarse. And they stick to the rules, and they tend to be very aggressive. And this was also happening with the abbot. He used to shout on the people, call them piece of shit. And I also had this experience see, this is the culture. Yeah, there is no, in this kind of society where there is no soul, where there is no nothing spiritual. Yeah, please just go. Then you have this, of course, no problem. Touching people, offering sex, children, and so on. It's perfectly normal. And where was I? If I managed to continue with all these touching disturbances. See, like people turn out to be extremely coarse, extremely aggressive. And I remember this occasion when I, by accident, touched a bag of a monk and he shouted on me, "You have to reoffer it, and you're supposed to be on your knees anyway, you know, when you're approaching the monk." So this is what they're all about. You must bow 3 times when you approach him. Then you must sit on your ass underneath him. Then you have to listen whatever he has to say, and whatever he has to say you have to be extremely grateful and then bow 3 times, because you are talking not only to the hierarchically superior person to you, but please just don't touch me, but you also have to also admit that, you know, he's spiritually more advanced than you are. Yeah, just okay, please just go. Okay, now, like, no more like pedophilia. Yeah, like even if children are like, I don't know, I don't like to be touched by people, especially, you understand me, you know. And where was I? Yeah, you know, you have all this institutional violence, shouting, calling you names behind the, you know, on the asana. They appear to be like perfect. They sit stiff. They all bow in the same time. They're good in chantings, you know. Professional monks, they can chant 45 minutes non-stop. And this is how they, well, in this case in Wat Pananachat, all money goes to the monastery, but in normal monasteries, monks get like some money, so they can, you know, spend it on whatever they need. And here she comes again. Hello, 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 hello. Big smile from ear to ear. I'm sure you find this very exotic, but for me, after 3 years, it's simply annoying. And 12 minutes 34 seconds. I'll have to start again.